for my next guest here in the theatre. Please give it up for a man we know as Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series. He's also been Jerry Lansing on the Brilliant Con Man. Please give it up for the fantastic Mr. Nolan!
Like this. Hello, hello. I'm not in the Batman movie. I don't know why that was great. I want to see that though. Wish I was Batman.
Right, well, we're going to open up the floor to questions straight away. So if you have a question for Nolan, stick your hand up. And based on what was said yesterday, I'm going to start as near as the back as I can.
Oh, I was just playing with you.
Right, let's go to this gentleman anyway. He's got his hand up.
Is it weird ever hearing your own voice in like all the different games and all just hearing them knowing that's all the same, that's all you? Is it ever weird hearing all them?
No. No, it's just good to be working. You know, it's one of the things you do as an actor is you panic a lot early in your career. So the fact that you hear your voice means that you're doing okay. So it's no, the only thing that gets a little disconcerting. It's a good word. Stay in school. Is when you hear yourself die at the game. And you have to ground them because they, you know. And then what's even worse is when you walk in to tell them to be better and it's your wife throwing you off a cliff. And she doesn't even play games, she just wants to hear you die. You know you're in trouble.
And I have a question here in the middle.
Hi, I just want to ask, what's it like to work with Tom Baker for about, you know, Shadow of Mordor and the last Uncharted game? You know, the way back to you were playing both enemies in one and, you know, brothers in the other one.
Well, it was Mordor was much more satisfying because I got to cut Troy Baker's throat. No, you know, it's funny. It's great. You know, we're good friends. You know, so it's fun to play any kind of role, and it's great to be able to work with any of your friends. And that's one of the great things about this business is that you know, I'm really fortunate that I'm a fan of a lot of the people that I work with, and you know, we get together. I mean, there's more fun and ridiculousness going on between takes than there is, you know, than what you get to see, so it really doesn't matter whether you're playing. In Last of Us, I didn't get to work with Troy, but you know, I said, well, you know, how about we should have done a spin-off and David doing something to Joel this time. Yeah, I know. I always get that recoil, especially the girls. Run, rabbit, run.
And we got a question off to the side.
I personally know you as the ghost from Destiny.
Eyes up, Guardian. Thank you.
And
We've woken the hive.
And as Deadpool in the Deadpool game. But what character had you the most fun playing?
Well, you know, I said this before. Nathan Drake was very special to me because it was the first time I was invited to put as much of myself into a character. It's my voice, it's all my movements, it's motion capture, so it's all the running, the jumping, everything is me. It's not just a voice job. So that's the best character I've ever played. It changed my life. It's you know, helped me earn, you know, new work as well. And but when you ask about voice, Deadpool was a lot of fun because, you know, Deadpool just can say whatever he wants. But he also talks like this, and he talks like this, and he talks like this too, and he's just all over the place. And we actually recorded, rather than do, you know, you know, this voice, all his lines, and then they edited them together. We did it one. I was telling people yesterday, if you were here, that we actually would highlight. I think we used yellow for the lightest color, a yellow highlighter for, you know, the guy talked like this, and then, you know, the crazy one was just Deadpool red. And then blue got a little more serious. So we, you know, let's go get burgers. You shouldn't eat burgers, they have high cholesterol. Shut up, you! Why does he talk to me? I don't listen. Yeah, it's just crazy. So, and the more frenetic it could be, it was great.
And we have a question from a lady here in the middle.
Hi Nolan. Just
Hi.
wondering, what was it like your first time using motion capture, so doing that as kind of an actor? What was like? Was it just incredibly surreal to now have to do all the movements, or like how did you find the whole experience?
Well, the first time I saw myself in this suit, I couldn't help but think it looked like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. And I realized I had to work out because it was just awful. It was just, I said, oh no, the first suit I actually wore for Uncharted was brown. Yeah, it was like Mr. Hanky, the Christmas turd. It was awful. But you know, that's what my first visual was. The experience of doing it though, the first time was pretty amazing because it was everything that I had ever done and trained for, and you know, it was like doing theater again, but you had a better paycheck. You had a paycheck. A lot of times you do theater, it's like you're passing out tickets, hoping somebody comes to see the show. But you know, it was just the idea that you could be anything. You could be anything, anyone. You weren't limited by, you know, on camera, what you look like. You could be anybody, and I like that. I just, my favorite actors have always been character actors. I think they're, you know, because they can just play a multitude of roles. And you know, in mocap, everybody is a character actor. So it was a very liberal. You know, people were always asked like, but there's nothing there. It's like, yeah, or there's everything there, and it's as close as you can come as an actor to being like a kid playing make believe. You know, where you know, that treehouse is a pirate ship, and you don't think twice about it. And when your mom comes out and says, anybody hungry? You don't go, damn it, you broke my center. Everyone back to zero. We'll start this again. Kids don't do that. They just play, and that's the true essence of acting.
I have a question from a gentleman here.
Hi Nolan,
Hi.
do you actually ever play the games yourself? And if so, what's your favorite? And would it be possible for you to answer in the Edward Richthofen voice from Call of Duty?
It would be possible, yeah. It would be wunderbar to talk like this, yes. I don't play the games because I'm too busy taking care of all the crawlers, yeah. No,
Should I continue? You want me to just?
yeah, I don't play my games because I'm not very good. I'm old. I had a button and a joystick when I was a kid. And that's all I played, Pong. And the one with the tanks. That was fun. It's horrible now.
Yeah, no, I don't play, but I watch. I have attempted, and again, you just have to turn it off and go have a good cry, because you're just so bad. You know what I mean? You have to. I mean, I'll play with my sons, and they'll be like, "No, hit X." I'm like, "Where's X?" And you're dead. And I'm like, "Damn it." So, and the short answer is, I don't have to play it. I lived it. But that's just the cute answer.
So thank you for your question. Now go die with Dempsey.
A question for this man here.
Hi Nolan.
Hey.
Two quick questions for you. One, I think for a lot of us here, for years, while reading the Deadpool comics, would hear your voice for very obvious reasons.
And you owe me money.
For each voice or individual? But
Each voice.
but I was wondering how you feel now with the Ryan Reynolds film after coming out, and how you feel being so attached to Deadpool previously. Watching the film, do you kind of feel like, oh, I wonder what I would have done with it?
No. No, I don't feel that way at all. I'm just proud that I got to play Deadpool and you know, and hope to continue it. I hope the success of that movie might spur a second game, possibly. But no, I don't mind. I thought the movie was great. I know T.J. Miller. I thought he was funny as hell in that thing. And I know also that Ryan Reynolds is a big Deadpool fan. And when an actor's that, you know, attached to something, you know he's going to do a good job. And I think I'm a fan of Ryan's. I think he's a really good actor, and I think I wish he'd do more comedy because I think he's really funny. And who knows? Maybe someday I get to work with him, and I'm not going to sit there and go, "You took my Deadpool." No, nobody ever owns the role. You just get to inhabit it for a while, and that's I mean, you look at Doctor Who. Everybody has their Doctor Who, and you don't really, that you had that role for a while. So it's. I'm just proud that more people associate me with the Deadpool, and that's really cool. I hear that a lot. They hear my voice in their head with the comic books. You should do some audio comic books. People who can't read, like me.
And you have a follow-up question?
Please.
And just back to for the Deadpool video game then, obviously, I imagine it must have been very schizophrenic when recording the lines the way you did. So
Yeah.
I wonder, was there a lot of improvisation with it, considering you're jumping from voice to voice?
Oh yeah. No, you had to, because I can't read. Stay in school. I don't know. Disconcerting. It was a lot of improvisation. The game's budget got cut due to the economy at the time in the U.S. and the game was supposed to be longer. There were some other things, and at some certain point they were like, you know what? Let's just say whatever the hell you want. And like the whole phone conversation, where Deadpool calls me, we kind of just riffed that as well, and I ended up cursing myself out. It was great. It was great. It's one of my favorite lines. And no, I'm not going to say it again today. It's kids. Fuck you, Nolan.
I have a question from a lady here.
Hi.
Hi.
Were you happy with the conclusion of Nathan Drake's story, having been with him so long?
It's over? It's just probably time to wrap that up, and I'm sure they have other things they want to move on to and do. And the one thing is you don't want to jump that proverbial shark. You don't want to make Drake in space. Drake, in Atlantis. Or Drake in the Crystal Skull. You don't want to do anything like that. And it's great to go out on top. It's bittersweet, it really is. But, fortunately, because of the success, because of everybody's love for that, I have other projects coming, and I'm hoping, maybe, who knows, it might be. Listen, Harrison Ford had his Han Solo, and he got Indiana Jones, so Drake and soon to be named. I don't know. No, here's hoping.
We have a question off to your left.
Thanks for the signing earlier. I just want to ask, are there any roles that you enjoy doing that aren't well known for video games or even TV or that? Also, can you answer it in the style of Sigmund from Ratchet & Clank? Because I really love that game.
You guys are killing me. So the question is, are there any lesser known things that Troy and I have done together?
Yourself that aren't well known?
No, sir. All my roles are very well known. Very, very well known. Especially Sigmund, if you don't know who that is. So it's been very, very good, sir. But Troy and I worked on something that wasn't well known with Transformers, where he played jazz and I was Cliff Jumper.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Oh my God.
But we're speaking of doing things in the voices. Have you ever prank called anyone or done anything, any of your voices? For example, as Nathan Drake rang up a video game store and tried to pre-order the game as Nathan Drake?
No, I used to do that a lot more though. I pranked Ross Perot's daughter. I went to college with her. I called her at her sorority and like, "Hi, honey." And he's like, "Hi, this is whatever her name was, Michelle, whatever her name was. Nancy Michelle, it's Miss Perot." "Oh yes, sir." And she came back. "Hello?" I'm like, "Hi, baby." And she went, "Hi, Daddy." I hung up. I was like, "Oh, I did it." No, my favorite thing though, and my wife always laughs at me. It's like, I love when a telemarketer calls. And it's not always, it might be a voice or it just might be something insane, but did you know that unless you, if you don't swear, they can't hang up on you? That's a rule. So if you keep it clean, they cannot hang up on you. It's like, yeah, you know, I'm really, really interested in the salad shooter. Why don't you tell me more about that? Well, sir, they're gonna be, and then I'll just let them go, and I'm watching TV. I'm like, you know. Sometimes they do it like I'm an old man. They took away. No, sir, we just need a credit card. They took my cards away. Like, excuse me? They took my, put me in the basement. Can you help me? Sir, I'm gonna end the call now. You can't end the call, please. And then eventually, like, hang up the phone, Jerry. The supervisor has to come on to make Jerry hang up the phone. It's the greatest. I'm not well. It's true. I really do. I do. I really like when they call me. I'll just, unless I'm like, I get bored, and that will be like, And if you know, God forbid, like I meet somebody and they just, I had a plumber who kind of talked like this, and he's like, oh yeah, you gotta get rid of this galvanized piping because it's just, you gotta get the copper. This is all Korean. And they come over here, it's pitted. Next thing you know, 3 days later, he's in a cartoon. And you know, it's like, you have an idea for a character? I'm like, yes I do, guy who talks like that. Yeah, so be careful, anybody. Listening, always listening.
I have a question for your man here.
Yeah. So you were Merasmus, and I was just wondering, were you like given any guidelines, or did you come up with it yourself? And could you answer us, Merasmus?
We're gonna have to stop this.
Yes, you need to go to the other side of the room. That row is killing me.
Merasmus is being followed by the Russian mafia.
No, we came up with that voice together, working with Valve. Those guys are great, and I just they kind of gave us that. Oh, you know, we just think it's kind of a Vincent Pricey kind of thing, but and so I said, but more over the top, and
so it starts out like Vincent Price, and then just things start to get weirder, and everything's yelled. Yes, Merasmus.
Yeah, so that's a lot of times it's a collaborative effort with the producers, the directors. Like you work on it, you place it, and then all of a sudden it's, you know,
it could have been Merasmus with like a Boston accent.
So we just play.
But next time I'll be thinking of you. I'll do you.
We've moved to the middle now, so hopefully we're safer.
Yes.
And I have this young man here.
Is there any roles you want to play in the future, or is there any actors you really want to work with in the future?
The list is so long. Yeah, I'd love to. There's a bunch of people I'd like to work with. I mean, top dream is like Anthony Hopkins. Like I got to meet him once, and he was as polite and nice. And he's the only celebrity I guess I've ever chased down onto an elevator. Jumped on the elevator and he's like, hello. I'm like, it's already lit. I don't know why I did that, Sir. Anthony, Mr. Hopkins, Sir Hopkins. He's like, oh no, please, it's Tony. I'm like, Tony. Then I realized I was making an ass of myself. But no, he pulled me off the elevator, said, what are you working on? And he was very, very charming and personal kind of hero of mine. So yeah, he'd be great. Yeah, there's a number of people. But the short answer is that.
A question for your man here.
Hi, just wondering, how do you think Nathan Drake would get along with Indiana Jones or Laura Croft if they were on an adventure together?
I mean, you'd have a better time with Laura. Yeah. You know, they probably have a lot in common, but again, have you seen Laura? Yeah, they wouldn't do much climbing, except of each other. Oh, it's Mount Croft. Like Mount Croft. There's children here. My own children have no shot.
There's a question for your man here.
Hi Nolan.
Hi.
I was just going to ask, if you were to be a voice protagonist of Gordon Freeman for Half-Life 3, what kind of voice would you have for it?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I'd probably, I don't know. You know what, I'd have to, most of the time if you're doing another character, it would have somebody kind of, you'd get to see more of the artwork, and they'd have some, they might have new concepts of things, but with things like that, with games that, you know, that are a little more realistic, I like to keep, especially if it's a long-term thing, you like to try to keep it closer to something that you're, I think it's easier, closer to yourself. There's one voice I did for a cartoon that,
Time is a Viking beaver that talk like this. But he always was yelling. I move the mic back like that.
and it was the stupidest thing I've done, because then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, he's gonna sing like punk heavy metal. We will go to war. We will go to, and it's like, no. They're like, can you do that again a little louder? I'm like, no, I can't. So it's the one voice that I won't ever audition with again. It was too hard.
We have a question from young lady here.
Hi.
Hi.
What was the hardest voice you've ever had to do? And can you reply in that voice in the way that you would say it?
That's mean.
Yeah, it was the Viking beaver I was just talking about. I would never want to do him again, thank you.
No. How about this guy here now?
Here we go, this little guy at the front.
Star Wars.
Hi.
Hi.
How did you feel when you were underwater in the last 2 games? Did you actually have to go underwater or what?
You know what? It's a good question. And it's actually a funny answer. We don't actually go really underwater, because everything, all the technology that would get wet and get ruined. But what's funny is when I have to like I actually do have to do the movements. It's kind of funny looking to watch somebody swimming in air. I'll show you like half of it. It kind of looks like. That's kind of what we did. But in Uncharted 3, where I get stuck and I'm underwater, remember, and I'm holding my breath, what they do is there's not really a big box on me. You know, there's a part where you have to hit the triangle and get that thing off of me. And he's pushing and he's holding his breath. Well, they made like a fake box out of pipes, like it's called PVC pipes, little plastic pipes. So it's really light, and I'm pretending to push it, and there's actually guys to lift it off so it doesn't get in the way of the tracking cameras. But they kept laughing at me because I was really holding my breath. And I was like, and we finished the take, like, and they looked at me and they go, you know you don't have to hold your breath, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's more fun, it's like real. But I was doing it like, you know, if you're playing, you'd be like, so I really did. So for all those underwater things, even though I didn't have to, it made it feel more real if I held my breath. And when it feels more real, it's more fun. And you know, it's not like my technique. No, it's just more fun. It's like you're playing, you know? What's your thought? You got another question? Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to. He said he's only through the middle of the game. I'm spoiling it.
They have a question from the. But
everyone dies.
I'm just kidding.
We have a question from
So you haven't got to the part where the dragon eats Elena? Oh, okay. No, he's too quick for me. He's a smart guy. Nice. I like it. Characters possible and sense of humor, that kind of thing. You know, it was a great script, but I was allowed to deviate a little bit here and there, make things, and it was a very, very collaborative effort, and so that's probably the closest of anybody. Yeah, because, and especially since it's all my movements, it was, you know, other actors in the room. It's not just your voice. It's more than that. I would have to say that one, and David's second.
Because I eat people.
He's a cannibal. Am I spoiling things? Did you play that one too? Am I spoiling that game for you? You shouldn't play that one.
We have a question here from this gentleman.
Yeah.
If they ever made another comic-based game, but you had to voice a villain, what villain would you want to voice?
Ooh. Lex Luthor was always would be a really cool one, especially since I played Superman. Lex Luthor is kind of cool. He's got a lot of level. There's so many good villains. Any suggestions? Who would you suggest? Your hand is higher than any human being's hand has ever been. Would it be the Penguin? Because I've done that one, mate.
Negan from The Walking Dead?
Okay, they should call me. That's a good one.
I have a question from a young lady here.
Hi.
Hi.
Just, it was probably from Deadpool because, there was a lot of comedy in Deadpool, but was there any line that you kind of had to do a couple of times because you kept laughing or,
Oh, that's happened a lot in a lot of games. In animation, that happens a lot because you work in animation. You're usually working with the rest of the cast, and they say something funny too.
And just, were there any lines that other people had that, whether they were really funny or just really cool that you were really jealous of?
In that game? Or in any game? Oh, where do I start? It's been never jealous. That's the great thing about I never. You never really. I don't know if I said this yesterday, but we're all fans of each other. Steve Bloom does the best Wolverine. He's amazing. And every now and then it's strange. You'll get auditions come through, and it's like they're doing a new X-Men thing, and there's Wolverine. I'm like, why would they not just call Steve? You're not going to do that. Fred Tatasciore has always done the Hulk. You're not going to go roar like him. Because nobody can. So it's no, I don't really. There's nothing. I wouldn't know where to start to answer that. I've heard so many some great lines just like when Steve Bloom, hey there, bub. You know what? I'll give you one good one. Steve Bloom does Dempsey in the Call of Duty Zombies, and I always kind of get a chuckle when he goes, "Come get some meat bag." When he calls them the zombies meat bags. That's kind of funny. I don't know. I'm weird.
I have a question from Leonardo.
You played Raphael in the 2007 Turtles film.
Yes.
And I just wondered if when you got the role, if they showed you any previous versions of the Turtles, or did they just let you completely come up with the voice yourself?
I came up with it myself. They just said they wanted a New York thing. And he's kind of just doing this kind of thing. I'm gonna go in there and save our brother, save New York City. See, they didn't even have to ask me to do it in the voice. But yeah, no, we, I had seen I kind of was just that age where I didn't really watch the Turtle cartoon. I was just kind of missed that. But I knew that it was such a storied franchise. It was kind of a big thing, and it was one of the coolest things that I've ever got to do. And I loved that. And I got to work. It was kind of a bit of a coup that 4 people who predominantly are known for voice acting got to play the Turtles. We weren't on the poster. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Patrick Stewart, I get it. Chris Evans, whatever. We weren't on them. We worked most days, worked the hardest. Kind of made the movie. But we weren't on the poster. I have a poster, I'm not on it. Did I mention I didn't make the poster? No, but it was great. And to do now, the funnier stories when the TMNT TV show came, the current one, everybody said, well, they should use those turtles. And I remember thinking, no, new producers are never going to use us. And but they asked us, they were polite enough, they asked us to audition. So I went in, I did Raphael, and I did one line. They go, great. Can you lose the New York accent? I was like, okay. No, you asked me to do what I did. I was like, can I just read for the Krang? I'd rather do Krang. And then I got Krang. So I get to do the Krang for that show now. And great, because Krang has 5 lines and gets paid the same as Leonardo, who has 500. So Krang is smart, stay in school.
I have a question for you, gentlemen.
In Uncharted, what was your favorite line that wasn't your own?
There's a few. There's a few. Sully, I am sweating like a hooker in church. It's great. And then, because then I was able to make up, I ad-libbed the whole line. You took a hooker to church? That was fun. And then Graham McTavish, who played Lazarevich in Uncharted 2, and then Cutter in Uncharted 3. Had become a really, really good friend of mine. And I knew him, and we were doing the scene where Lazarevich finally confronts, and he shoots Jeff, the cameraman. And he walked in, and he's my friend, and he's a really good actor. If you know Graham McTavish, he's Dwalin in The Hobbit, he's done Outlander, and now he's doing a new Preacher series. And he's my buddy. And he walked up, and he got right in my face like, so, this is the little man who's caused me all this trouble. And I kind of went, and he just bared down on it. And my friend suddenly just disappeared, and it was this guy that I thought was gonna punch me or kill me. And so and now we have this little joke. It's like, would little man like to go grab a beer? Like, so I'm little man. So that one sticks out in my head.
Any question for you in the front?
Do you have any idea how ridiculously stupid the Easter egg in the next Zombies map is going to be? And is there anything you know about any of the games you've worked on that maybe the software, like the developers, don't want us to know? Maybe?
Yeah.
You can tell us, yeah.
Well, easy. But enjoy that. By the way, you should see him. He's sitting here with a camera on me right now. So, yeah. Thank you. You hate my children and want me to lose my job. You know what? I will give you an answer on that, though. I can't follow what we do in the Call of Duty Zombies to save my life. The writer could be sitting right next to me, explain what's going on, and I would still be completely clueless. The way the timelines have jumped. So even if I wanted to tell you what's going on, I couldn't. It's very complicated, but it involves Dempsey and Takeo and Richthofen. Again, somebody who didn't ask me.
And a question from a young man here.
Can you sing Crazy from Deadpool?
No.
Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. Yeah, that's all you get. Don't clap, I'll shoot you.
We have a question for this person here.
What was it like to be in Portal 2 with the corrupted cores?
Well,
it was like going to space. Dad, your son, are you space? Space.
The funny thing is, people came to me, they said, oh, you were great in the Space Corps and the Fax Corps and the Adventures Corps, and one of my favorites. But I was like, oh no, I'm not in that game. People are like, no, you're the space fair. I'm like, yeah, no, Portal, never heard of it. They're like, no, you're in. They had to pull it up online, and where somebody had taken all the space lines and recorded them back to back. And when I listened, I was like, yeah, that's me. And then all of a sudden, I remembered the lines. We had recorded that almost a year and a half earlier, and it was under every game uses a fake name, a code name. And so it was never called Portal when I recorded it. I never knew what that was. And then it came out, and it was a great game. But yeah, I had to actually be reminded that was what that game was for. So, and it's amazing. I'll get people with posters, and somebody made their own defective turrets too. So it was a lot of fun, and great writing. Great writing on that game too. Less ad-libbing, just really great writing.
Question for the young person here.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I ask 2 questions?
You can ask 2, only 2.
Only 2, okay. Well, you were Superboy in Young Justice, weren't you?
Yes, what's your second question?
Well, 3 questions. A lot of the time, every now and then, I hear a lot about Young Justice maybe being picked up by Netflix or some other company. So how would you feel if the show were to come back?
I'd love to do it. Love to do that show. It was great cast, a lot of fun. It ended too soon. I hear it from fans everywhere I go. In fact, I saw somebody I know at DC the other day. I'm like, you guys had better do something about this. And they're like, I know, but there's so much, you have Warner Brothers, you have DC, these big companies, and they have other projects. There's all kinds of things. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know people are clamoring for it. Stay in school. No, really, they are. They're absolutely clamoring for it, and it's. I kind of hope it. I hope it happens. I'd be in. Are you kidding? I got a Superboy T-shirt. Yeah.
And my second question: of all the characters you've ever voiced, okay, if you could pick 2, just 2 characters to go out to the town with, have a drink, do whatever, who would you pick for what reasons?
Wow. So many voices. I'd probably pick Christopher Walken for one, right? I'd just come in there and be like, what a head. It's dark. Bang! Do that one. And it wouldn't be some of the game voices, because that would freak people out. So who else? I would do, well, if I were here, I'd shave my head and go out and go,
Where's the guy gotta go to get a drink around here? That's right. Take the dog for a walk, Tommy. He loves that dog. Yeah, Jason Statham. Basically, you only have to get a little bit raspy and then sound annoyed at everything. Happy birthday to me. Thanks for singing. Appreciate the song. Excuse me while I spin kick you in the face.
So, those 2. But you gotta shave your head first. No. Stop it, you're embarrassing me.
I have a question for this gentleman here.
Hey, how difficult was it for you when you first started voice acting? Did you ever have a point where you thought maybe this is as good as it gets, or did jobs just sort of fall into your lap?
Unfortunately, nothing has ever fallen into my lap. I didn't really know that you could do it. When I was a kid, I'm Mel Blanc. One guy did everything at Looney Tunes, and it's just not something I've ever really thought about. And when I started out, I was in New York doing theater and then stand-up comedy, and then I moved to LA and I got on a TV show. And when the show was canceled, that's when somebody that I'd worked with, he said, you should talk to my voiceover agent. And I was like, I don't, car ads, things like that. And he goes, no, you're always messing around with accents and voices. You said you do cartoons. And all you ever hear about is how cartoons are difficult to get into. Because you have to understand, nobody did games. There was a big, when it started to get bigger, it's when the unions, the SAG and Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA started saying, I guess we should get union people to do this. A lot of the jobs were non-union, and nobody wanted to do games. Because most of it was like, grenade, get down, over here, and you're just yelling. And there were no residuals to it the way like cartoons had it. So everybody thought it was kind of but I had 2 kids. I had a family, and we were like, and they were like, yeah, well, it's only $700, but you gotta yell for like 4 hours. And I'm like, okay, what's the catch? So, that was what I think scale payment was. And so I just decided to start doing it, and I enjoyed it. I really liked the games. And then, I remember the first couple games and you hear your voice and you're like, that's kind of cool. And I think it's like any job. If you go in and you have a good attitude and you work hard, and I always try to get there on time, although somebody taught me it's easier to be 15 minutes early than on time. That's something that I try to live by. So, especially with LA traffic. So it's like, so if I'm working on Friday, I leave Wednesday night. because it's about 15 miles to the main studio. But we're making games, we're making cartoons in the voiceover world. If you have fun, enjoy yourself, and make sure everyone. I always kind of take it as a personal responsibility. Make everybody laugh, have some fun while we're working, and get there on time. Get it done early. Everybody wants to go see their family, go see their wives, their girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever. They want to do that. So, like in any job, if you just, and people want to work with people they like. So I want them to like me. And they hire you again and again, and you don't complain, and you don't say, geez, the yelling kind of hurts. Then don't do it. So, you do a good job, show up on time, do a good job, have fun, laugh, and people go, let's have him back. He can do a bunch of voices, do that kind of thing. So, it never really fell into my lap, but work begets work. I could go on and on with cliches, but it's true. You just work hard. You work hard. It's not a hard. It's so much fun. So I hesitate at saying you gotta work hard. You gotta. The hard work is in getting the jobs and then just go and play and make sure everyone has a good time. And I really love what I do, and I feel blessed that I get to do it. Because I joke about this, but it's literally what I got detention in school for. Just making,
I could do my Uncle Bob all the time at family things, he was just from outside Boston. And he, he was always really loud.
And it's kind of weird because
if you take that down a little bit more, it sounds like Peter Griffin.
And McFarlane's from New England too, I believe, so I think he's got family there.
So he knows all about their cohort.
Yes.
Question from a lady here.
Yeah. Were you ever offered a job that you turned down and then it turned out to be successful and you regretted it?
Fortunately, no. Only recently have I gotten the opportunity to say no to things. It's one of those things that it's a privilege as an actor if you're like, no, not something I'm interested in. There's so many great projects that are out there. I don't have any regrets, which is something that's kind of one of my little credos in my head. It's I don't ever want to have regrets for things. I don't know. I don't regret anything. I have turned down jobs. Most of the jobs I've turned down have been some on-camera jobs because I'm busy and it's like, okay, they want you in New Orleans to shoot this show. You have a couple scenes, but you're just not doing anything. You're just kind of pushing the main character's storyline on. It's for this much money, and you're like, okay, but you're gonna have to fly away. You're gonna miss my son's, playing the footy match, or they're doing something that weekend, and I can't be there. Or you can get your family time. You go play golf on Friday with your buddies, but Friday in the afternoon, but Friday morning you're doing an Uncharted voiceover session for the same amount that you were going to get for the week to do this TV show, because it's a co-star and they've dropped scale and they've cut it down. And by the way, on Thursday you have 2 cartoons that you're on. Wednesday you're going to shoot Guild Wars, then we're doing 2 cartoons at Nickelodeon. Then Tuesday you got the Netflix stuff, because you got the 3 DreamWorks shows that are. It's like such a good feeling to know that I'm going to go have this fun. I'm going to work less hours. I'm going to be with my family. I'm going to do this. That's why I love voiceover. I mean, I still do. Con Man, which is the TV show I'm shooting with Alan Tudyk. We've just wrapped season 2. We shot it in a month. But I had a couple weeks on it to do the stuff I had to do. Pretty Little Liars that I do every now and then. It's been a great job because it's, they work through my schedule when I'm available. I've had to turn down days for that because I'm too busy or I'm out of the country. I was supposed to work on it and I'm over here. but I had already committed, and I'd rather come to Ireland and talk to you than go, I don't want you to see Toby anymore. You know? Toby's still on it, right? I don't know. Toby. Spencer?
I have a question for the young man here.
I know Spencer's still on it. She's still on it, right?
What's your favorite nationality voice to do, like Italian or French? And can you answer on that nationality?
Wow. I like the Jamaica boy. We took that, go down there, the Bajan down there in Barbados or something like that. No, I don't know. Just might start doing that thing where you take the H out of the word that has H's in it. Went down to 3rd Street and pick up this thing. I don't know. I don't do what most Americans will do to the beautiful Irish accent.
Turn into the Lucky Charm guy and go up high there.
Ugh, bad cereal too. But to answer that seriously, but I think the thing is, the British is always fun because there's so many different things. I want to learn like more down in Cornwall, to kind of like, you know, oh yeah, my father's a knitter, and he said, but I don't know. I don't know. Something like, you know, like I like doing, you know, John Cleese and upper crust type of things. The British accent's so easy. And many of my friends are Brits, so I just get to sit around with them and just talk like them. And then they work on their American accents with me. Most of them are really good. One guy who will go unnamed, worst American accent. He thinks he's great. He's like, hey, this is how Americans talk. And I'm like, first of all, their mouth doesn't move like that. Unless they're, you know, mid-stroke. I don't know what you're doing. So, Brad, you know, I grew up on the BBC. My dad was a complete Anglophile, so BBC television, Fawlty Towers, Benny Hill, everything. Python, of course, and every movie Alec Guinness ever made. You know, Peter Sellers being there. You know, so everything, you know, you figured everybody talked like that, you know, at that time. Just depends on their level, where they grew up and talk like that. So I just like to fall into it. I got my first beer, stay in school, underage. I used Australian. So because Foster's, the commercials, Foster's, Australian for beer, was big in the States. And all my friends had fake IDs, I didn't have one. I was in Newport, Rhode Island, and they came around, everyone's ordering beer, and I just looked, and instead of panicking, I just said, yeah, just go out. Do you have Foster's on tap? That'd be lovely. And she was like, do you have ID? And I was just like, well, they, oh, you mean my passport? Oh, actually, it's back at the hotel. Do I have to go get it? I mean, how about you blokes? And they're like, oh, all your friends are trying to, it's fine. Where are you from? He was a good waiter.
Question from this gentleman.
Solid Snake.
First of all, I just want to say thanks for coming to Ireland.
Are you kidding? Thank you. I've missed rain.
Okay, so...
Hashtag 5-year drought. Still don't know what hashtag is.
I know you're good friends with Graham McTavish.
Yeah.
Have you ever done an impersonation of him in front of him?
No, but I'll do one right now. Yes, actually I have. Of course I have. He's got this great voice. Great thing about Graham, if you know who Graham McTavish is, he looks like someone that would beat you up in Glasgow, okay? And he's just the nicest guy. He always, you know, he's got that face. You know, he was in, I just saw The Finest Hours on the flight over here, you know, and we gotta, you know, he's just great face. And just, he always, poor guy always plays these just mean roles, and he's one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet. Extremely talented. And, if he ever sees this, he's just gonna punch me for being so surly. Yes, and I have tried to do him. I gotta get the beard though. I want to get like the beard and like shave my head, do a beard, and just Skype him. It's like looking into a mirror. It's close.
Question for this young gentleman.
Yes.
The boat. I got two questions. Boat or like Call of Duty based.
Okay.
What is the like Richthofen? He got the summoning key. What's he using it for?
Oh, I can't tell you that. Are you kidding? I would lose my job. So your first question will go unanswered. Or it will be stabby time.
and your chest will bleed. And I will laugh.
And the blood vials on Richthofen.
Again, I cannot tell you about anything on my coat. No, you know what, really, I couldn't tell you, and I literally couldn't tell you. Because they don't explain everything to me, because I'm not that smart, and I will give things away. So they don't explain anything to me. I really don't know yet. I think that the new DLC that's coming out will explain a lot more of that. I know it does. I just don't know how. I really don't. It sounds like I'm evading, because I really don't get it.
I have a question for the young lady here.
How did you end up playing Peter Hastings on Pretty Little Liars?
You know, it's funny. The audition I went for that, it's an interesting story. I'll be quick. I read to be Arya's dad first, and who was Chad Lowe, got the role. Right? Yeah, Arya's dad, and it was sometime in the spring, because I'd taken my family. After that audition, you kind of forget about it, because you can't dwell on those things. You do it, and then we went a couple weeks later. Maybe a week later, went skiing in California, up in the mountains, and we went out for a day. And it's the first time I'd ever kind of hurt my knee. I kind of just twisted my knee a little bit on the first day, and I thought, man, maybe I'll just take tomorrow off and rest, and maybe the next day it'll feel better. And I get a call. I get back to the hotel or with the little cabin we're staying in, and there's 14 missed calls and all kinds of emails. And I called it was my agency, and I said, what's going on? They said, where were you? I said, wow, skiing? What are you talking about? They said, skiing? You were supposed to be at the callback at Warner Brothers. And they had messed up, sent the email to the wrong. I had a callback, which is you have your audition, then callbacks they kind of whittle down. If there's 50 people reading for the role, then they call back maybe 5 to 10, and then so they're kind of coming down to the picks. And they said, they were supposed to put you on tape for the network. They really like you for this role. And can you get there tomorrow? And I'm like, no, I'm with my family. Tell them, they have me on tape once. They know what I look like. They're like, no, they really want you. And so I sat with my wife, and she said, you know what, you hurt your knee. Drive down there. I was like, drive down there? It's 5 hours back to LA. And so I was ticked off. Of course, the first day I also didn't use sunscreen, so I looked like a raccoon. I had red face, and I had the mask. And I didn't really care. And I said, you know what, fine. I said, but you tell them, be ready, I'm gonna come down there, and I look like a raccoon. And the next morning I got up, drove down, walked in there, redid the scene on tape, one take, and they looked at me, and I just looked, and I said, is it still on? They said, I hope you give me this role or I'm gonna burn down your studio. And I got up, and I laughed, and I got up and walked away, got a cup of coffee, and drove right back, and I was there for dinner, back with my family. But I forgot about it. 3 weeks later, you got the job. It was so strange, because I just had, it was like this silliness. It's like, because they'd already put me on tape. What do they want to see what I look like? What's the point? There was no extra direction, so it seemed kind of odd to do it that way. I go to my first day. There's the executive producer. And I said, hey, sorry about the whole burning the studio down thing. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, I told him what I did. He goes, they made you drive down for that? Why? He goes, oh, well, I knew you were Peter Hastings first time I saw you. He said, you read for Byron, Montgomery. But no, we just, I remember I took your picture. I go, no, that's our Peter Hastings. He said, maybe the network needed to do it. I was like, you didn't need me to come down? He's like, no. He said, we probably owe you gas money. Have fun. And he walked away. I was like, of course, 7 years on the show now, it's paid for the gas money. So, but it was, that's a long-winded answer, but that it was, and you know what, I've really appreciated that job. I gotta be honest with you. I don't appear on it much, but I think it's really well done, really well written. you know, and Leslie Farrell, who plays my wife, Spencer and our daughters, they look like they could be our daughters, you know? So it's been great fun to watch those, especially those 4 talented young women, really, just blossom out and do things. It's always funny when I go through a grocery store and there they are on Cosmo or People magazine, because I remember them when they were just like, "Isn't it great, we have a new job." And I was just the old grizzled vet going, "Yeah, it's great. The business will jade you."
Well, that is all the time we have, I'm afraid, Nolan. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me here. We love it. Country.
And Nolan will be signing at the signing table this afternoon. He says if you haven't had a chance to ask him your question, he'll be available then.